Hey everybody, what's up? I should unmute my microphone first. Usually that works when you do that. How is everybody doing? All my favorite people, all my members over at mixingmadeeasy.net. Again, we're here with another public coaching call as our membership is now open and it's going to close by the end of the year, and then it will close for all pretty much until this time next year. So want to give all our folks who are not currently members of our community an opportunity to give a little inside look like we did last month. We usually do this at the end of the year, where I make these coaching calls public to folks that want to check out mixingmadeeasy.net. They're not really sure what it's about or what we do. And so this is the opportunity for them to check that out. So I'm sure Dave will, if he hasn't already, we'll put links in the chat for mixingmadeeasy.net if you want to check it out. It's our mixing membership community where all of our members every month get a brand new song to mix, different styles of music every month, and they also get anywhere from 3 to about 5 hours or 6 hours of video training every month. So it's like a full mixing course every single month where you get the audio files, you get to see me mix the song from beginning to end in real time, and I walk you through every concept, every technique, and really try to show you the craft of mixing in a very non-technical way. We use different plugins every month, different styles of music, so there's something for everybody, and you become a much more well-rounded mixer. Whether you just want to mix your own music or whether you eventually want to mix music for others, whether it's for fun or a part-time business, you can do that if you get the right training and the right practice. So that's what mixingmadeeasy.net is all about. So check the link, open up another browser window throughout this broadcast, and you'll see on the website all the different things that are part of the membership. It's very, very affordable. And one of those benefits is being a member is we do a private coaching call, which this month is public for everybody, where we do mix critiques of some of the mixes that were sent in as part of our monthly mixing contest. And I pick a winner and we give a plugin away every month or two. And we critique the mixes and, give you some of my feedback. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So I hope everybody's doing well. We got 23 people here. That's wonderful. And these calls are recorded. So if you are part of the membership community and you can't catch it in real time because of time zone differences and such, it's always recorded and on the website when they log in so they can watch it after the fact. So that's what we're going to do. While we're doing that, scrolling across the bottom of the screen, we have Black Friday sales going on at Home Recording Made Easy. You get 50% off using the coupon code BLACK50. That's BLACK50. Go get your stuff today. And that also includes part of the Black Friday sale this year, also includes the Mixing Masterclass, which has never been put on sale before. And we usually don't do that. Usually you can't even sign up for the Mixing Masterclass except for twice a year. But for this holiday sale, I went ahead and opened up the doors, and a lot of people have taken advantage of it, and I really recommend it. If you are someone at the intermediate or advanced level of mixing, the Mixing Masterclass might be for you. So if this is your first time here at a live stream, say hello to us in the chat. I'll say hello to everybody else, and then we'll jump in and we'll critique some of the mixes by some of our members this month. The plugin we're going to give away this month is the Loch Ness 2 Saturator Compressor by Tone Empire. Really cool plugin. Did a review on it. It's on this channel. You could go check that out. It's one of my favorite compressors for like drum buses, especially. Parallel compression stuff's really cool. Go check out the Tone Empire Loch Ness 2. That's what we're going to be giving away this month. So let's jump into the chat and say, how did he do to everybody? And then we'll get into Studio One, okay? We'll let some people kind of file in here. So David S.J. is always here. Dave, what's up, buddy? We'll chat probably tomorrow. We're supposed to get together on Saturday. Dave's coming up again, and we're going to do another live stream over at Mixing Music Analog. If you're into hybrid and analog mixing, make sure you check out Mixing Music Analog, the YouTube channel. A lot of cool stuff going on over there. We did a cool live stream last week that was about 6.5 hours long, and we're going to do another one this Saturday. Not quite 6.5 hours long, but we're going to do another one. So what's going on, Dave? Hey, Jim, how you doing? Juan's around. Hey, Juan, I see you're on vacation. Awesome, cool, man. Have a great vacation. You're having a birthday party for your brother-in-law, so you'll try to pop in. That's cool. And wanting, you can always catch this later on in the on the website if you can't catch us live tonight, as you know. Hey, Jim, how's it going? Good to see you. Who else is here? We have Randall. Hey, Randall, what's up, brother? Jim is here. Hey, Jim. Jim Cool. All right, Kaiser's here. Thumbs up for for you, brother. Yeah, thumbs up. Thank you. We already had one thumbs down. Look at that. I wasn't even live yet, and we already had a thumbs down. It's amazing. I love it. I love that people are so angry in this world that the only way they feel better about themselves is to go try to make other people feel bad. But it doesn't make me feel bad. I actually get a chuckle out of it. And it helps it helps me either way. Thumbs up, thumbs down. It still helps the YouTube algorithm. So you're only satisfying yourself. It's funny as all hell. But yeah, if you want to give thumbs up, everyone, if you find this helpful to you in any way, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you don't like it. I really don't care one way or the other. Let's see. Who else is floating around? Sean is here. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Good to see you, bud. Brian's here. Hey, Brian, good to see you, my friend. Awesome, man. So again, if you have any questions along the way, you can always ask in the chat. Usually all of the members here at Mixing Made Easy, and most of the people's names that I read off are members here. They're really good. They'll answer any questions that you might have. David SJ will monitor the chat as usual, throwing up all the appropriate links and answer questions as well. So this is a really good community. One of the things that makes mixingmadeeasy.net really cool, aside from the fact that you get a new song to mix every month, and aside from the fact that you get 5 hours of training from good old Uncle Dave here every month, and aside from the fact that you have personal access to me via email and Zoom coaching and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I just did 2 this weekend. I did 2 Zoom coaching calls, private calls for 2 of our students that were having some trouble. And so besides all of that, really what makes it really great is the community of other members that we have. A user forum, a private forum that again you would have access to as a member, and you really get a lot of great help and feedback where you get an opportunity as you're working on your mix during the course of the month before you submit it to the mixing contest. You post it up on the forum, and we got a lot of great members here, man. Everyone listens to your mixes and they give you constructive feedback and some constructive criticism, which is really great. And then you have the opportunity to do that for other members as well. We have, sections in the community where people share their studios and photos and new gear that they buy and acoustic treatment. And it's just the community is really what makes it special. And we have a really great community that's very active. They're in there all the time, and everyone's always helping each other. And so that's really cool. So, when you're working in your home studio and when you're working online, at times you can feel really isolated, right? You feel like I'm here all by myself. I have a video that Dave gives me, but what if I have questions? How do I get help while I'm watching the training, or if I'm, whatever? Well, this way you have the community where you get help right away. You post something within a day. People are posting answers to your questions that you may have, or you can send me an email throughout the course of the month and I get back to you personally within a day. So it's really cool. It's not only just the videos and the courses, but you also get some help as you go through your monthly mix month after month after month. So it's a really cool thing. Hey, John, what's up, brother? George, how you doing, George? Good to see you as well. So check it out. If you're not a member of mixingmadeeasy.net, I encourage you to at least go to the website, watch the video, check it out. And I think you'll really, really like it. So anyhow, enough of that, because you don't care about that, right? You don't want to listen to me ramble. You want to hear mixes and you want me to give away a plugin. That's why you're here, right? And we do this every month. And we got some really cool plugins coming up for next year. I got some real doozies, man, that you guys are really going to dig when we get into January. I got really cool plugins. All the new best plugins by IK Multimedia. I got Sunset Sound. I have all their tape machines, both the 4 tape machines and the brand new Tascam, the brand new stuff that you can't buy for less than a couple of $100 unless they put them on sale. I got licenses to give away. I also just received today the brand new KIT kit, the Blackbird Neve channel strip, the new one that they just released and supposedly fixed whatever issues were going on. They reached out to me today, gave me 3 licenses to give away. So I've already got tons of great plugins to start giving away. So you too can win some really cool plugins at mixingmadeeasy.net if you get in there and you get involved, man. Juan wants a plugin. Well, Juan, you got to win the mixing contest. Juan, you've won plugins before. Everyone at mixingmadeeasy.net, if they've submitted their mixes to the mixing contest consistently, most people have at least won once or came in as a runner-up. Most people. But the thing is, you got to send the mixes in. You know, the funny thing is we get the mixes from the same 20 or 30 people every month, but we have way more members than that. Most people don't send their mixes in, which is okay. You don't have to. It's not a requirement. But you know, it's good to do because that's really how you get better, because you will not every month be a part of the live coaching call. I don't critique everybody's mix every month. I can't. It takes too long. But every month I keep track of who sends their mixes in, and we make sure that everyone gets a chance to get their stuff critiqued live. And if you're sending your mix every month, you'll get your mix critiqued live at least 5 or 6 times a year, maybe more, depending on how many people send them in. Hey, Night Rider, how are you? So, yeah, that's really where you really want to do that, because that's how you're really going to learn. The part of the thing with any kind of training, right? But especially when you have a membership training with a community and live coaching and stuff, is you have to use this stuff and you have to be involved. I know we all have lives and we're all busy, but it doesn't take very much effort, honestly. It takes 4 or 5 hours a month if you really wanted to apply all the videos, all the training, be part of the community. You're talking about an hour a week or 2 at most to get the most out of the membership. And trust me when I tell you, as you're going to hear tonight, mixes are getting better and better all the time. So, you know, anywho. All right, let me get up Studio One here. Let's get it up here and let's take a look. Let me get my camera and all that stuff happening. All right, so we're going to listen to 8 mixes tonight. Last month we mixed a song by the name of the band, I Am Cassettes, and the name of the song is I Believe. It's a pop rock tune. But as I said, we do different styles of music every single month. Everything from rock to pop to metal to country to blues to jazz. And next month, in December, a little inside info for our members here tonight, we're going to be mixing a big band tune in the style of good old Frank Sinatra, good old Blue Eyes, which we haven't done at all this year. And it's going to be really fun. So it's a small session, but it's true to that old 50s big band sound. So I think you guys are really going to dig it. And I'm going to start working on the content for you guys probably tomorrow. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys will really like that. And then also, we also mix some member mixes, right? We do 3 or 4 a year. We're actually members from the community who write their own music, record their own music, or their band's music, or productions that they've worked on. They will donate a set of multi-tracks for the community to mix. And several guys have done that, and they learn a ton, because not only when you write your own music and record your own music and then mix your own music, and you're really close to the music and you don't get that outside perspective. So not only do you get you get to see me mix your song from start to finish, but you get, 15, 20 other members who will mix your song and post it up in the community and provide feedback. And you get a really cool perspective on how others would treat your music. So it's a really good learning tool. So that's another thing that we do, by the way. Okay. All right. So we have 8 mixes. First one is Robert Earl Davis. I don't know if you're here, Robert, but I know you watched the replay. So let's go ahead and let's take a listen to this track a little bit and let's see what's doing and see how you did. Here we go. And then let me know if the audio is okay. Hopefully it's going to be okay. We'll see.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrists and my stubbly lips are here to make you feel better than the
Okay, so far sounds really good. The only thing that I would be critical about here is the acoustic guitars are completely lost once the verse kicks in. And the acoustics sound really thin to me. I love the wash of the keyboards and I love the space that you have behind those. The vocal sounds pretty good thus far, although I hear a little bit of a S, but I'm not paying close attention to that because I'm listening for those acoustics. So let's go back here. Don't crash on my Studio One. So this is a big time acoustic guitar is then one of the main sections of is really one of the main driving instruments in the song. So let's go back to the start here.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay.
So we have a little bit of an S problem on the vocal. Not terrible. It sounds like you might have de-essed it. But I also can tell you got a lot of upper mids going on in the whole mix, so it's brightening it up a little too much. And that acoustic guitar is completely gone. Which is, if it's a stylistic decision that you're making, you want the keyboard to be louder than the guitars, okay. I wouldn't have done that. But again, a lot of this stuff, right, is subjective and it's stylistic. But I want to make sure that you made that decision because you're listening for that. You know, you got your ears dialed in and you made a creative decision. Cool. Even if I don't agree with it. But if you didn't do that, and you just didn't pick up on it, the acoustic guitars need to be much louder.
Longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubbly lips are here to make you feel better than the same. Can we be better than the same?
Background vocals sound great, but they're louder than the lead vocals. So, and the reason for that is because you pan them so far left and right, which is awesome because it separates them. But they're louder than the lead vocal. Remember, we don't want the background. We don't want the lead vocal to be overpowered by anything, right?
So touch down your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
The low end sounds really good. Love the kick in the bass, but again, it overpowers that acoustic guitar. So this just needs to be rebalanced. Now we're going to listen to the chorus. Now here's one thing you gotta, and this is a classic song example of this. This is such a well-written song. It is such a hooky, and it's such a big hook in it, and it's so memorable, the melody, especially when we get to the big chorus in a minute. That in a song like this, that's well recorded the way this is, and it's so catchy, you want as a mixer to stay out of the way. And what do I mean by that? I mean by that this mix is mostly about balance and panning, not so much about EQ. You don't want to distract the listener from such a great track because the acoustics are too low. It sounds very bright. There's lots of tss in it, right? You want to get out of the way of this song. And you want it to kind of almost mix itself. This song, there's a lot of processing done here on this particular mix, and it's a little overcooked.
I see that your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to the anatomy you know you need. So let me be what you ask me. So touch down your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in.
Sorry, I got the wrong plugin on here. My bad. Hold on, I'm going to back that up. My bad. I grabbed the wrong plugin. I grabbed a multi-band compressor. That's not what we want here. My bad. Sorry.
Heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. What I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to
so there's a lead guitar line. Boo doo ba boom boom boom. I can't hear it. And that's a main hook in this song. So the vocals are nice and clear and up front so we could hear them, which is great. The background vocals are too loud. The lead vocals at this point have overpowered the entire band. And it's got a lot of top end, which I took out here as you heard. And now I can't hear all the instrumentation is what makes this song powerful. Okay, the way this song is written is in every section of the song, another element is coming in to kind of attract your ear. It's a very well crafted song. But if you can't hear those elements, that's a problem. So listen for that. You can barely hear it, the little do, 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 do. Okay, so there's a few things there. It's just a balancing thing. Now remember, you also got the, if I remember correctly, someone in the chat remind me, I almost always will give you the commercial release of this song. I'm almost certain I give you my mix as a reference track, but I also think I gave you the commercial release on this one. I usually do. If it's available, I go to Apple Music, I buy the song and I give it to you guys so you have a reference track. And we talk about this a lot. Hey Ken, how you doing, bud? We talk about this a lot in every single month, right? During the content, you guys hear me say it over and over and over and over. Use a reference track and use a reference track plugin, because if you do that, you will be able to solve some of these problems. You're not guessing how loud should the acoustic guitar be or how loud should the background vocals be to the vocal, right? Because you have that roadmap, okay? So for people that are not members that are new here, here's a free tip for you. If you are mixing music without a reference track, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you are driving down the road with a blindfold on and you have no idea where you're going. You think you know what the balance is supposed to be, but unless you listen to lots of commercial music, and I don't mean as a fan, I mean as an engineer, and you're listening for all the nuances and you're listening and dissecting the mix as an engineer, you don't really realize what the balances should be. You think you do, but you don't. Every mixing engineer, pro-level mixing engineers, they all mix to a reference track. They don't copy the reference track, right? They use it as a guide. Why? For this kind of stuff. Because how loud should the background vocals be to the lead vocal? How loud should the acoustic guitar be? Oh, I can't hear that guitar lead hook in the third chorus. Why not? If you have a commercial release, and that's why I try to provide it every month, and I might have. I did give it to you, Dave. Okay, I thought I did. I will always try to give you the commercial release of the song, just so you have it. And then you have my mix as a second reference track. But if you're not using that to do your mixes, you are really just throwing a dart at a dartboard with your eyes closed and you have no clue where you're going. This mix is pretty good. He did a good job from an EQ. It's a little bit top heavy, but he did a pretty good job here. You did a good job, Robert. You have the balances are off, and the balances are off is because you may not have used a reference track or maybe you did. My guess is that you didn't. So anyway, it's a great mix if you get the balances dialed in a little bit more. Okay, so there you go. So I hope that's helpful. Andrew Levin is up next. Andrew, are you here? I thought I saw you in the chat. Maybe you're not. Let's listen to Andrew's mix and see what he's got going on. Here we go.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubby lips are here to make you feel better than the can we be better?
Okay, great job on the kick snare. Love it. The stream froze up for a minute there, so I was distracted. I apologize. It looks like it's going on, and who knows if YouTube is crapping out on us. So far, so good. Except we have a little bit, it's a little honky. A little mid-range heavy. I took out 2 dB at 600. It's got a little bit too much mid-range, especially in that intro, but not bad.
See that your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to thee. Anatomy, I know you need. So let me be what you ask of me, please. So touch down your arm to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in.
Okay, so in this song, we got the exact opposite effect with the background vocals. You can't hear them. Okay, you want to hear those background vocals? I can hear them faintly. I can hear that you spread them out, but they're not loud enough.
You're what I believe in. So touch down your hand to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your hand to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I
Again, same thing with that lead guitar. Boo, boom, boom, boom. It should be louder.
believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
Okay, not bad. Okay, again, it's a little mid-range heavy. Two things that are key, I think. The background vocals are not loud enough. You don't even really realize there's background vocals in the song. And that lead line at the end in that third chorus is important. It's another element in the mix that's important to the song. It gives that song, again, this is a lesson in songwriting as much as it is mixing. Listen to the different sections of the song and listen to how all the different elements come in and when they come in. It's important. It's what drives the emotion in this song, okay? But you got to hear all those things. So again, a little bit of a balance on the background vocals in that lead guitar line. It's a little flat sounding. I think a lot of it's because it's kind of mid-range build-up heavy, but it's not a bad mix. The low end sounds pretty good in it, right? The bass guitar kick drum relationships sounds pretty good. So not bad. A little bit of a balance again. Be careful with the overall balances. And again, remember we always talk about manage your mid-range, right? We talk about that a lot in the content every month, right? When you have strings, acoustic guitars, electric guitars, vocals, background vocals, all of that stuff is very mid-range heavy. And you got to be careful that you don't get too much cloudiness in the middle because then it masks the whole mix, right? Okay, so nice job, Andrew. Thanks for sending that in. Okay, who's next? Darren's up. Darren Stewart. Let's give him a listen and let's see how he's doing. Here we go.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubby lips are here to make you feel better So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
Sounds really good. We don't hear that lead guitar line in the third chorus. It seems like that's going to be the pattern this month, that everyone kind of missed it or just didn't think it was important. It's such a huge important part of this song in the third chorus. That do-do-do-do, you can barely hear it. Okay, so the low end sounds really good. I think there's a resonant frequency on that bass guitar that's a little heavy to me, and on headphones it sounds heavy. So in the studio it probably sounds really boomy. But you got a lot of nice space, a lot of nice balance. The mix sounds pretty good, man. It sounds pretty good. I love the background vocals. I love the space with the strings. The bass, again, could just be my headphones, but it sounds a little boomy. But again, missing that lead guitar here in that last chorus.
You are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
And I love the acoustic guitar sound, especially in the beginning. You did a nice job here. Let's listen to the intro of that acoustic. Perfect. It's that note right there. It's the boom. It's a little bit boomy, but that acoustic tone, perfect. Good EQ on that acoustic. You did that right. You didn't EQ it in solo because you would have made it way too boomy. You EQ'd that in the context with the bass guitar, and it sounds really good. Again, the only criticism I have about this is I think you still got right around 80 hertz or so. It's a little bit the front end of that bass note, or you could maybe have compressed it a little bit more to kind of soften the transient a little. But it seems like it's a little bit heavy. And then in the last chorus, again, the lead guitar lines are not there, and I think they really need to be there. I think it's such an important element of this mix, but it's a really good mix other than that. That's the mix so far to beat so far. Good job, Darren. Darren's mixes have gotten more and more consistent month after month after month. And Darren is a relatively new member, comparatively speaking. And he's done a great job. And every month his mixes are getting more and more consistent. And that's important, man. Winning a contest is fun, but it's really about, and what I really pick up on with these members that have been here a while, is the consistency. Even if they're consistently missing a couple of things, that's okay, because that will improve over time. It's really about ear training. Mixing is all about having good ears and knowing what to listen for. Even if you make the wrong mix decisions, the wrong creative decisions in the big scheme of things, again, it's subjective, right? But the key is the ear training, right? And they're in the middle of mixing a song right now for next month where the challenge is they have to try to mix and copy the tone of the reference track. We don't usually do that. We use it as a guide. But the mix they're doing right now, their challenge is it has to sound like the reference track. And we're going to pull the reference track up in next month's mixing call and we're going to listen. And it doesn't matter whether they like the mix of the reference track or not. That's not the exercise. The exercise is ear training. We do a ton of ear training in this particular membership, guys. And this is where most websites fall way short. Most websites just show you the plugins and show you what they do when they twiddle the knobs and they give you very high level overview. They don't talk about the detail the way I talk about the detail. And that's why you get 6 hours of training every month, because I never shut up talking about the detail. Just like I'm doing here tonight. And I do this in every coaching call, even when it's not public, right? So ear training, important. Okay, Wayne's up. Wayne just stopped in. Hey, Wayne, how are you, brother? Hope you're doing well. Wayne's another one that always has super consistent mixes. I haven't heard his yet, but my guess is it'll be super consistent. Here we go.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubby lips are here to make you feel better than the same. Can we be better than the same? So touch down your arm to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. I see that your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to the anatomy I know you need. So let me be what you ask of me, please. So touch down your arm to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I.
Okay, the lead guitar line's a little better than this mix. You can hear it at least, but it's still, I think, a little low. This mix is really good. What the exception is, pardon me, it's boomy. It's got a lot of real low mid stuff happening here. So we took out about 250, pardon me, sorry, about 4 dB, and then also at 95, about 3 dB. So if I take away that EQ cut, listen to the bass.
believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you
Really good mix. It's just a little boomy in the low end. And the guitar lead line is better than what we've heard so far, but I still think it needs a little louder. But at least I could hear it now and recognize, okay, it's part of the song. But you didn't push it out far enough, I don't think. But again, that could have been a creative thing, and that's cool. If that's more of a creative decision, no problem. The big takeaway here is the low mids. Okay. But other than that, really good balance. Again, very consistent mix from month to month. Okay, DJ's up. DJ, you're floating around here, aren't you? Hope you're doing well. Here we go. Let's hear DJ's mix. See what he's got going on. Wow.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet.
Okay, just looking at this EQ curve, you got way too much high end in this. I kind of like the chorusy thing you did on the beginning with the guitars. You tried to make it sound like a 12 string maybe. It may be a little heavy, but I mean, cool. You know, A for effort, man. Nice and creative. But you can just tell by looking at the EQ curve, it's very bright.
You'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubbly lips are here to make you feel better than the same. Can we be better than the same? So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
I love the drum sound. It's just way too loud. The kick drum is nice and tight and punchy, but it's too loud for this song. It's just too loud. And the snare, it sounds like you got it gated, which is cool. Or maybe like a reverse reverb on it, like a gated reverb, it almost sounds like. Cool. It's just too loud.
That your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to the anatomy I know you need. So let me be what you ask of me, please. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing.
And the lead guitar line is not, I can't even hear it. So, this has a lot of top end. It sounds like it's pretty over compressed and is a lot of low end, and right, the drums are way too loud. Which normally your mixes are not this. Usually your mixes are way more dialed in. So maybe you rushed this one. Maybe you didn't use the reference track on this. I don't know. But this one has it needs to be rebalanced, and it needs to be gone through, and it needs to be kind of sculpted a little bit. So again, low end, top end real heavy. Can't hear the lead guitar line. The snare sounds pretty cool. And I like the 12 string kind of guitar effect. That was kind of cool. Maybe a little much, but it was cool. I get what you were trying to do in the intro there. That was kind of nice. So I just think it needs to be rebalanced. And again, reference tracks, reference tracks, reference tracks. Okay. All right. Who's up next? Jimmy Farmer. Is Jimmy here? I don't even know. I didn't see him in the chat. Or maybe he's here. Okay. Jimmy Farmer. Here we go. Right now, Darren is the mix to beat.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while. Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrists and my stubby lips are here to make you feel better than the same. Can we be better than the same? So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in.
Okay, so far nice balance, but the lead vocal's got a lot of and a lot of tsk. So it needs to be de-essed or manually de-essed. But overall, the balance is pretty good so far. It's got a real, we're going to see when the whole drum kit kicks in how big this low end is. Right now, it sounds okay, but it still sounds like, to me, like on the last mix, it's too much. But we'll see. Maybe it'll even out.
You wanna believe in? I say that your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to the anatomy I know you need. So let me be what you ask of me, please. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing.
Okay, so the lead guitar line is hard to hear again in this one. So that's the pattern this month. Everyone did such a good job until they got up to the third chorus and then left the poor lead guitar out in the dust. No one gave it any love. The lead guitar in the end needs to be louder, right? You've heard me say that a bunch. This has a lot of low end in it, around 60 hertz. It's too much. It overpowers the song. The rest of the thing sounds really well balanced, but it's the low ends that's distracting. If I take away this cut, it pulls you away from the lead vocal. Remember, right? In a pop song especially, well, any song that a vocal, but in this song especially, the lead vocal is the king, right? It's supposed to outshine everything else in the band. Everything else. Until there's a guitar solo where the singer shuts up and the solo goes to play, then we need to hear the guitar solo. But outside of that, this song doesn't have that. Outside of that, you don't want to have anything else louder than the lead vocal, right? You're better off. You are always better off having a little, not enough low ends, right? It was a little thin. Always better off there where it doesn't distract me from the lead vocal than to have so much low end or so much of a kick drum that it distracts me from hearing what the guy's singing, right? So I'm going to take away this cut it's taken away now, and then I'll bring it in so you can hear the difference. And I took out about 7 dB.
What I believe is touchdown your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touchdown your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touchdown your heart to my chest. Fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touchdown your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing, 'cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in.
Mix, pardon me, mix sounds fantastic. It's just too much low end. And you can debate like we are in the chat. Too much of a cut, not enough of a cut. 6 1 half dozen of the other. Without that cut, it's way too much low end. Now, depending on the system that you're listening to it in, will depend on how much low end you think you need to cut. Again, I'm listening to this on headphones, obviously. And I've already listened to 7 mixes, so my ears are a little fatigued. But I can tell you that between 5 and 8, 7 dB is where that cut needs to be, in my opinion. And seeing as I'm the one judging the contest, that's the only opinion that matters. I'm kidding. No, you guys know what I mean, right? So, wonderful mix. Jimmy's very consistent with his mixes. The low end is too much in this song, okay? So remember, again, just always keep in mind, if you're not sure, the most important part of the song is the lead vocal. Always, not the kick drum. Not in this song anyway, okay? So, there we go. All right, Bill Long. Bill, I don't know if Bill's here, but here we go. Let's listen to Bill. Got a couple more, and then we'll be done. Then we'll give away our plugin.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while.
Okay, so this song, you don't even hear the kick drum, period, or bass, right? It's almost like it was muted.
Can we be longer than a while?
Now, let's see. Maybe he did that on purpose, and when the drum kicks in, he brings it in. Maybe it was a creative decision.
The hands on my wrist and my stubbly lips are here to make you feel better than the same. Can we be better than the same? So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing. You are what I believe in. You're what I believe
in. Okay, so no. Okay. Well, that would have been really cool if you would have brought in that low end at that part of the song. That might have been cool. So if you look at the EQ graph here, it looks like he's got a roll off at around 60, 65 hertz, which is way too much, right? So again, come out of the other mix with way too much low end, right? In this mix, there's no low end, right? So we got to find the happy medium. This one rolled off the bass guitar and the kick drum with a low cut filter, probably too high. Actually, the low cut starts at about 74 hertz, right? So where's all the kick drum live, right? It lives somewhere between 50 and 60.
asking me, please. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing.
Okay, so in this mix, we got vocals that sound great, but they're so overpowering. And again, so I just got through telling you the vocals are the most important part of the song. It is. So the vocals are nice and loud and we can hear them, but there's no bands. The band's completely lost. I try to bring some of the low end back, but it's difficult to do that on a stereo mix. So we got a lot of vocals and can't really hear any of the rest of the band.
You are what I believe in. You're what I believe in. So touch down your heart to my chest.
And you can't hear the lead guitar line. Okay? So this one needs to be rebalanced as well. Reference tracks. Okay? I'm going to say it again. Reference tracks. If everybody used a reference track, the mix would be 90% of the way there, right? Telling you. That's the key to success, people, among all the other basic fundamentals you need to have. But just from a balance standpoint, right? Just from a balance standpoint, you got to use reference tracks. And you should be using a reference track plugin tool like the Plugin Alliance, Metric AB, and there are others on the market. That's just the one I happen to use and like because you can solo up the frequency bands, right? Well, the members know what I'm talking about because you see me use it every month. But for people that are not a member yet, this particular plugin, as a matter of fact, let's listen to Steve's mix, and then I'm gonna show it to you. I'm gonna give everybody here a free tip. Okay, this is usually just reserved for the members. I'm going to give it to the non-members here. I'm going to show you why this is important. But let's listen to Steve's mix first because Steve is up. Here we go.
If you lay down your head and rest here tonight, I'll bet you'll stay here longer than a while.
That's perfect low end so far. That kick drum and that bass, that's where it should be. In my opinion, that's close, really close.
Can we be longer than a while? The hands on my wrist and my stubby lips are here to make you feel better than Thursday. Can we be better than the same? So touch down your heart to my chest, fix what needs fixing. 'Cause you are what I believe. What I believe I see that your armor is thick, and I'm not first pick, but I'll bend to the anatomy I know you need. So let me be what you ask me, please. So touch down your heart to my chest and fix what needs fixing. You are what I believe in. You're what I believe what I believe in.
Okay, that's the winner for sure. Okay, so it's a little mid-heavy, but that's just the low end is right where it needs to be. Okay, so up to that point, everyone's low end had some issues in it, some more than others. That one was almost dead on, in my opinion. The lead guitar line in the third chorus still could have been a little bit louder, but you could hear it. You knew it was there. The only thing that I would say is in that third chorus, the lead vocal was a little harder to hear than it probably should be. Well, nitpicking a little bit, but that's a good solid mix. And before we get to the plug-in, and this is another tip for you, and I tell the members this every month as well, so they've heard me say this, but for folks that haven't, and the reason why I'm telling you this stuff is because this is the kind of stuff you're going to learn. Okay, you're going to learn this every single month. You're going to see me go through a mix from start to finish. We spend 6 hours on it, 5 hours, 6 hours, depending on the month, right? And we break down this detail, and I stop and talk to you in detail about some of these things. Okay, this is what you do not learn on YouTube. Nowhere. Trust me. And if you do, send me the videos because I'd like to see them. Most engineers don't spend the time to show you this stuff. Why? Because it takes a lot of time. But I'm going to show you something here. Here's a good way when you use an EQ like this where you see the graphic display, right? The analyzer. Just look at, and it's only one indicator. This is not a blanket statement, but it's one indicator that you know you have tonally a fairly good balance. When you see almost a flat curve and no groups of frequencies are way too high or way too low, just look. And you don't see any big spikes or real dips when we get to the lead vocal too.
Let me be what you ask me, please. So touch down your arms in my chest.
A little bit in that 600 to 1K range, and that's because that's where the lead vocal sits. But almost every single time when I listen to a mix and I see that EQ curve is pretty uniform, pretty balanced, almost every time the balances are 80, 90% of the way there, right? Where in other mixes, you'll see there's lots of boosting that needs to be done, or in most cases, lots of cutting because things are out of balance. And you can see the EQ curve has either a big, goes from low, cut out the mids and like the smiley face thing, but the smiley face is too much, or there's a lot of top end, or there's way too much low end and it's way out of proportion to the top end. That's another way to kind of gauge it. You can kind of see it, right? And you'll notice that when you compare your stuff to reference tracks. So Steve, you won the plugin. Okay, you're going to get the Loch Ness Tone Empire. Make sure you email me once you see this video and I'll get you the license number. Great job, brother. Really, really good job. Okay, now let me show you this. Okay, you don't have to be a member to learn this. I'm telling everyone. I'm going to say it until I'm never going to stop saying it. This plugin right here, or something like it. This is called a reference track plugin. Okay. I'm not going to load a reference track into this thing quite yet, but you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to, if I have it still. Let me see. Now, while I'm doing this, if you're not a member of mixingmadeeasy.net and you don't go over there and sign up for at least a month and try out the content, then I don't know how to help you because you are not going to get better at the craft of mixing unless you get some really in-depth training and get the detail that you need. So talk amongst yourselves while I find this track, if I still have it. And you can tell that I'm passionate about this because I want you guys to learn, all right? I want you guys to get better. I just don't want to take your money every month. If I'm taking your money, you're not getting any better. There's something wrong, right? And all these students that have been here for 6 months plus all have gotten better, a lot better. What the hell month was it? It was, what are we in? We're in November. So it was October's mix, right? Reference track. Of course I do. Here we go. Okay. So I go out to iTunes and I spend the money to get you guys the reference track, the commercial release that the band released on Apple Music or Amazon or one of those. Okay. So this is the reference track. Okay. So you have this big blue button over here called an AB button. Blue is our mix. Orange is their mix. So you can flip back and forth. You can also sync up. If I go to playback and I go to the playback mode and go to sync, That means no matter where I am in the song in the DAW, it's going to be the same place in the reference track, roughly. You have to set it up, but close enough. Let me just demonstrate this, and let me show you the power of what this plugin does and why I highly recommend this. And there's a couple other brands that do something similar. I'm just familiar with this one. So here's our mix. This is Steve's mix here, right? Do I still have Steve's mix up? Yeah, let's listen.
I believe in. You're what I believe to my chest.
It's a little off the sync. The spot is a little off because I didn't line it up. So I'm just trying to get the volumes about the same. I'm going to line it up a little bit better. So I'm going to take Steve's mix. I'm going to move it up here a little. Okay, so we going back and forth. We got them set about the same volume. So you can listen to levels, how loud's one lead guitar, how loud's the vocal, how loud's the background vocal, that stuff. But the real key to this plugin is this little thing down here in the bottom right-hand corner where you can isolate the frequencies. So you can go to like the low mids, right? And you can, let me show you the spectrum here. You can go to the low mids and you can change the range, but the default is usually pretty good. And you can play back your mix. There's just your low mids. Now you can compare it to their low mids. Okay, and you can get an overall feel. Is your low mids close to the reference track? You could do the same thing in the bass level. So here's our bass. There's their bass, which is more. They have more bass in their song. Okay, you can go to the sub level, which I know is hard to hear over this thing. Okay, and then you can go up to the highs. Okay, then you can reset it and listen to the whole thing. You can also then do things like use the spectrum and you can compare the two EQ curves. I believe in. Right, so theirs is on the bottom, ours is on the top. You can layer them over the top of each other so you can see one EQ curve on top of another. And you can see that they're close, which is why this mix sounds so good. Okay, and that's just scratching the surface. Okay, we do this, we spend a lot of time on this every month in the content. But if you don't have a plugin like this and you're not using reference tracks, you will never be a good mixer. Never, ever. And you won't be consistent, which is really the most important thing. Okay, because ear training takes time to develop. Okay, and it's just practice, right? It's like playing an instrument, right? You want to be a better guitar player, what do you need to do? Sit down and play the guitar. Right? You can learn by yourself, but it takes a hell of a lot longer unless you go get some good training. And if you sit down and put the time in, you'll be a better guitar player. This is no different. This is no different. And so the key is you have to mix a lot, right? So when you're part of a community like this, you get to mix at least 12 songs a year because you're going to get one a month. And then hopefully you're also doing some other mixing on your own if your private time allows it, family and work and all that other stuff. And that's how you get good. But really, most importantly, beyond all of that, is you have to have the right instruction. You have to have someone who is willing to sit down and spend 5 hours a month with you, teaching you these things and telling you what to listen for. In every song and every month, we'll have different problem areas, and we work on those different problem areas. And you get to see how someone who mixes every day for a living handles some of those things. And then what's great is that you can take from my workflow what you like, disregard what you don't like, right? And then you build your own little process and your own little workflow and your own little system. But over time, your ear will start to develop. And then when you get to the level of what a lot of these members have gotten to, that the mixes are so good that it really then becomes very subjective. My opinion 1 month, could differ from everybody else's because, who knows? My ears are tired today. We're getting to the nitty gritty and we're really getting picky, right? Once we get beyond the basics. And so that's when you know that, okay, your mixes are really solid because it's hard to pick them apart. So anyhow, so for everyone here that's not a member, you got some free tips tonight. And that's just the tip of the iceberg of what I teach every month. And if you, all these, we have lots of members here that have been around a while that will confirm everything I'm telling you. So anyhow, Darren, great job. Great job, everyone. Again, you guys all do really great jobs. And this is also another thing. Again, I give kudos to all these members that send in their mixes every month because they get out here in the public, and especially now with 40 people watching, and they get their mix picked apart. And it takes a lot. I'll tell you what, man, it's you got to be brave to do that. You're sticking yourself out there for criticism, and that's important. And it's not easy. I know. Believe you me, someone who gets criticized every day of my life on social media, that it's not easy. And I give you a lot of credit for doing it because that's how you get better. And our community is unlike most social media platforms. The one thing I will say, and there, we don't have in our community, a moderator, so to speak, except me. But they don't need to be they don't need to be managed. There's no one there with attitudes. There's no one there saying they're not being appropriate. There's no one there bashing other people. There's no one there saying anything other than positive reinforcement. Even if when someone posts a mix, the first few times they post a mix, it's, it needs a lot of work. And the criticism is always very constructive, and it always comes from a good place. All the members are like that. And that's what makes it so special. It's not just me telling you what I think you ought to do to your mix. It's what all the other members are telling you as well. And sometimes we all have differences of opinions, and that's cool. Nobody's 100% right. Again, remember, it's a subjective thing, mixing, and once you get beyond the basics. But unlike other social media platforms where it's not really a safe place anymore because everyone just, we don't have to talk about how bad social media can be, how toxic it can be. This is not that at all. It's not. And I'm really proud of the members for helping each other and for sticking around and being positive reinforcement to their other fellow members, because these guys really want to get good at this stuff. Just most of them maybe just want to get good at it so they can make their music sound the best it can be. They have no desires to do this for money. They have no desires to do this for a living. They just want to make their stuff sound as good as it can sound. And then we have other members that want to mix for clients one day. Some of them are already starting to do that. Okay. And they want to make a part-time job or whatever out of it because they enjoy it that much. And so it doesn't matter where you fall in that, but if you really want to learn this craft, I don't know of a better place. Yes, you can buy standalone courses, and most of you guys here have bought some of my courses, and those are great. Those will help you. Those will get you going in the right direction. But what you really need to be good at this is you need consistent practice. That's the key to all of this. You need consistent practice. You have to mix. The more you mix, the better you will get out of it if you have the right instruction and you have a good set of fundamentals and you're training your ear to have a decent ear. And so, go try it. If you don't like it after a month, you can cancel your membership at any time. You don't have to stay there. But I tell everyone that signs up, give it 3 or 4 months before you bail, because the first 2 or 3 months, you're going to be overwhelmed. I can tell you that because you're going to get so much training in the first month, nothing like you've seen before. You're going to say, you go buy a course, it's usually 80, 90 minutes long. This is 5 hours. So you're going to have to spend some time with it, and you're going to feel like, oh, I can't get my mix done in time for the mixing contest, and that's okay. You don't have to submit it every month. But when you first start out, give it a few months. Give it 2-3 months. Work through it. Okay? And if you can do that, you will be better at mixing. And we're going to constantly give you challenges every single month. I mean, I'm starting to give them more and more challenges as these guys are starting to come along, but we still keep it at a very, we keep it from a basic to an intermediate level. We don't go way too far advanced. I try to strike a balance between the guys that are more advanced and the people who are just starting out. And I think for the most part, I get it pretty close. You know, some months are better than others, but we're doing more and more challenges now, where and again, a lot of it's ear training, you know, and so I don't know. That's what I would tell you. So anyway, if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them. Again, thanks so much to all the members for allowing me to put this up as a public call, because this is always private. This isn't something that the public gets to see. These guys pay to have this kind of teaching private as a group. But 2 or 3 times a year, especially towards the end of the year when I open up the membership, because the membership is only open once or twice a year. You can't join whenever you want. This is a close-knit community. It's not the amount of members that I want. It's the type of members that we want in our community, right? And so when we get towards open enrollment like it is right now, I like to bring these to the public so people can kind of see part of what we do, you know. So thanks to the members for allowing that and being really cool about it. And that's great. So cool. So let me see if there's any questions. And again, let me go back to the chat here. And great job, Steve, by the way. Golf clap for Steve. Good job. Good job. Good job. I'm proud of you, brother. All right. Let's see. Juan says we challenge each other with encouragement, constructive critique, and honest opinions. That's right. And it's done always in a very good way. And then the other thing too is in the membership area, in the community, they're not just blowing a bunch of smoke up everybody's butt. These guys are honest, but they do it in the right way. You know, they do it in the right way because you go to, there's other places where you can go and you can send the mix, and no matter how it is, they just tell you how great it is, and you don't learn anything that way. If it's truly great, great. But even the greatest mixes have 1 or 2 things that you can think about or you can improve on, or you get another perspective, even if you don't agree with it, but you get another opinion, right? So if you just send up a mix every month and everyone just tells you how wonderful it is and no one ever gives you any feedback, then you're wasting your time and money because you're not learning anything. We're here to be supportive, but we're going to be honest, you know, because that helps you. So Juan makes a very good point. Okay, let's see. Simply Mary. Hey, Simply Mary. Thinking about it for sure, but can I get an honest opinion on one thing? Do you think a singer-songwriter should record and mix and master their own material? I've been told that is a very bad idea. Well, it depends on if you're a singer-songwriter that is making music for yourself and maybe putting up on Spotify. You know, if you're trying to go heavily commercially released and you're really trying to make it with your music, then you should probably have a really good mixing engineer work on it. If you're going to release stuff for sale, and you're a beginner mixer, I would say you probably would want to have a professional mixing engineer do it if you have the budget to do that and focus on the writing and the recording, or if you're going to have it recorded by someone else as well. It really depends. It really depends. A good mixing engineer is not cheap. Another bad idea is to go around and find mixing engineers that'll mix songs for $25 and $50. Bad idea. Bad idea. Okay? You'd be better off learning how to do it yourself. So it really depends. But what I will say, it's always good to know a little bit about it, even if you're going to eventually hire somebody, because then you kind of know a little bit about what it should sound like. You kind of understand. So when you listen to their mix back, and let's say you're not completely thrilled or you have some revisions and some changes, you'll know how to talk to an engineer to some degree. Doesn't mean you have to be heavily technical, but it gives you that edge to know a little bit about it. But some musicians don't want to get into the engineering side. They just want to write and record. They want to be creative. They want someone else to handle their mixing and mastering. And in that case, I'd say that's a good idea, but you make sure you have the budget for it. Make sure you have the budget for it. Okay, because there's lots of people online that'll mix your song for next to nothing, and those are people that really don't know what they're doing. They really don't. And if someone is willing to mix your song for $25, chances are they're not very good at what they do. That's not all the time, but that's most of the time. So just be careful about that. So it all depends what you want to do, Mary. How some people love. Some of the students here are great musicians and they just love the engineering side and they really want to learn it for themselves. And that's cool too. So there's no right or wrong answer to it. All right. Got to go. Hope to see everyone in the community. Hey, John, see you later, my friend. Let's see. Juan says, my latest mixes have been just a few tweaks away from what Uncle Dave and the rest of the MME vets would consider a good mix. That's true. Your mixes have gotten a lot better too, Juan. You really have. From the beginning, no doubt. Ken says he's glad to be part of something this great. Great, man. We're glad to have you, Ken. Really. Really. Okay. Milkman, MME is very addictive. Easy to join, but hard to quit. Lots of fun, lots to learn. Good, man. I'm glad you're still learning something. You've been around from the beginning, like a few of these guys here that have been around from the very beginning. We're going on year 4. 4 years we're going in. This Milkman's been around since the beginning. So I'm glad you guys are still learning something. I mean, it's hard. After 4 years, it gets more challenging for me to bring you new things to challenge you even further. I mean, try to do that. We try to mix it up every single month, as you know. And sometimes I hit it out of the park a little more than others. I get it, but it's hard to do. But I'm glad you're still learning something. I really am. And a lot of times too, you learn what not to do. Sometimes, you learn, hey, what Dave did there, I didn't like that. I like it better this way, whatever that example might be, right? And that's okay too. That's at least it's more important to me that you recognize and can hear the differences. And then you have to make a stylistic choice, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's like, what's a good song? We all have opinions, right? What's a good song? What makes a bad song? There's certain elements that make a very well-crafted song, but music moves people in different ways, right? And the sound of a mix moves people in different ways, and there's no right or wrong, but there is a guideline and a fundamental that you really have to understand. And then once you understand that, you can do whatever you want. Okay. DJ says, hey, DJ. He's talking to Simply Mary. Okay, cool. Let's see. Yes, Randall says you can even join without wearing a mask. No masks required at MixingMadeEasy.net. Let's see. Ken says can't mix right now after shoulder surgery. Oh, you got shoulder surgery, Ken? I hope you're doing okay. Well, that stinks. I hope you're on the mend. Simply Mary said, how much is it a month? Go to the website. It's less than $1 a day, I can tell you that. It's it's less than 30 cents, less than 50 cents a day. And you can join by the month, or you can join by the year. If you join by the year, you get 2 months for free, so it's a little bit cheaper. Miss Simply Mary says you have 1 album out already. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Did you mix your own stuff? Did you have it mixed and done by somebody else? Ken says he's been reviewing, you've been refreshing on your tutorials because of your shoulder. Good, man. Going back to the library and rewatching the stuff. That's great. That's great. Awesome. I hope the shoulder feels better. Maybe I should do this. I know I have been had at $10,000. What did you spend $10,000 on, Mary? Gear? That's great. What kind of gear do you have that you spent 10 grand? Let's see. I can master your song for $1, but don't complain if the master mix sounds bad. Yeah, you want to be careful, You want to be careful when you're choosing a mixing and a mastering engineer. You want to be careful. Do your homework. Do your homework. Listen to their work. Make sure it's actually their work that you're listening to. And here's another thing I'll tell you. I recommend, you can do whatever you want. When you're hiring a mixing or a mastering engineer, just don't do it all through email, right? Everything online today through email. If they won't get on Skype or Zoom and talk to you in person and take a personal, a personal interest in your art and talk to you about what you're looking for and really have a discussion with you, don't hire that person. Because you're just, don't hire that person. Get someone that really knows what they're doing. And there are lots of great engineers out there. Lots of them. We got some here in the chat that I would absolutely recommend to mix somebody's song. As a matter of fact, I've referred people. So, but just don't do it all through email. You want someone that has a personal touch, someone that's willing to talk to you, someone that takes interest in your art. It isn't just looking for your money and going to whip anything together and send it back to you. Because a lot of people do that. You gotta be careful about that. I hate to see anyone go down that road and not be happy. Thanks. How long is the enrollment open? I still can't find great engineers. I can still find great engineers. Right now, enrollment will be open probably till Christmas, and then it will close for at least 6 months. Hey, Ricardo, greetings from Portugal. Great content. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Juan says, I'm definitely signing up for another year. Awesome, man. I hope so. I hate to see you go. Okay, I'm seriously considering this. I agree about never learning enough. Thanks, Dave. You're welcome, Mary. And, come on over. Like I tell people, you don't have to make a 10-year commitment. Come over for a few months. If you don't like it, just send me an email. I'll cancel your membership. It's not a big deal, man. No harm, no foul. But I tell everyone, if you're going into it thinking about, oh, what if I want to quit? Then you're not in the right mindset, right? I try to tell you, if you really, again, everybody's budget's different. I get it. So again, I hear what you're saying, but I just try to be honest, right? Commit to a year. I tell people commit to a year. If you can pay for a year's upfront, you don't have to worry about it. You'll save some money. And then you've kind of made a deal with yourself. I paid for a year. I spent the money. Now I'm going to give it a year. And some months you'll have more time than others. I get it. We all have lives, man. I get it. I do too. If you only knew what goes on here. There's only one person that really knows what I got going on here. I get it. But if you make a commitment, if you say, you throw the gauntlet down, I'm going to do it. I want to get better at this. I don't know how much better I'm going to get, but I want to get better. I'm going to make a commitment. Okay. When you pay for a year up front, you save some money. Yes. But then you also have now kind of committed yourself, right? Don't go into it thinking about when am I going to quit? Because if you do that, don't even bother. Save your time, save your money. And that's just being an honest. I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not here to just sell you something. I'm here to tell you what it really takes. And I'm telling you, every mix you heard tonight, and you only heard some of the members' mixes tonight. We rotate in and out. These guys spend time doing this. They put the time in. You can't get good at this unless you put the time in. It's as easy as that. So how much time? 5-6 hours a month minimum. If you could put 5 hours a month, an hour a week or so, you'll be fine. If you can do more, obviously do more, right? So there you go. There you go. Okay, let's see. Gotta go. All right, King. See you later, brother. Good to see you. We bought our own studio gear because we paid a professional studio $10,000. Plus $1,250 2 times over, more hours, mastered it terribly by a student learning for free. Well, there you go. $10,000 to make a record, to make a CD. Wow. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm sorry you went through that experience. That's terrible. That's terrible. And if you had a student that was doing it for free and you weren't happy and you spent that much money, and that makes me angry because I see that happen. The great thing about technology is that everybody has a computer. Everybody can make music in their own home studio. So what we don't live in a better time than now for making music at home at almost no cost. You can make it for almost no cost. If you have a cell phone, you can make music and record music for free. So that's great. And the technology is such that there's lots of people that can do this. The problem is that everybody with a computer calls himself an engineer. And unfortunately, some people just want the job to be done and they go and they take a chance, like poor Mary here, and spends a ton of money and doesn't get what they want. It happens all the time, So I'm all for people learning and trying to be an engineer and trying to learn the craft and making money and helping an artist and getting paid for their services. I'm all about that. But you got to be very, very careful when you're hiring somebody online to mix and do your music, because if you don't get the right person, you can get yourself down in a bad situation. So I'm sorry to hear that. And you learned something. You said it. It was a learning experience for sure. So now you know. And again, if you come to our community and you start mixing, even if you don't want to mix your own music, even if you just want to be an artist, you want to learn a little, but then you want to hire somebody, at least in our community, you will have people that will direct you to the right people. Because I can tell you there's at least there's about a handful in our community now that I would recommend if you wanted someone to mix music for you, or maybe it was more, depending on your budget. Because a lot of times people will come to me and I don't have the time or they don't have the budget to hire me, but then I can refer you to one of my students and say, here, they're going to work for a little bit less money because they're in the learning curve, but they make solid mixes every single month and they're good people and they will make you happy. Okay. And you won't spend 10 grand. And so that's another thing too. You'll get some good networking. You'll get to meet some people. And that's always helpful too, you know, because it's hard. It's hard. I know. So anyhow, hopefully we'll be able to help you sometime, Mary, in the future. Okay. So we have access to the classes at any time. Yes. So the way it works is, when you sign up, let's say you signed up on December 1st. We'll just use that to make it easy. So whenever you sign up, there are always 2 months worth of content available to you. It's the month that you're in and the month before. So right now, where are we? November. So in the student area, they're mixing November's song and they're also still have access to October's material, the song you just listened to tonight. On December 1st, October goes away and now you have November and December. And then in January, November goes away and you have December and January. Make sense? So you always have 2 months worth of content. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You get to download all the videos as well as the audio files, plus the videos. Are they stream? You know, we have one of the videos is streamable. So you can watch it on the site if you don't want to download it. And so you'll always have access to 2 months, always. And that's the way it works. Okay? And yeah, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right. So okay, great. Excellent. Okay, Mary. Well, again, if you have any questions, go to the website, watch the video. You can always send me an email and I'll get back to you and I'll talk you through it. But the video is pretty self-explanatory. But if you need any help, just ask. So do we have any other questions? This has been great. I'm glad that we spent some time together. Again, thanks to all the members once again. Really love you guys. Make sure now, remember the song that you're mixing right now, if you're going to submit that mix to the mixing contest, you got it. We're going to get the reference track out. I wrote myself a note. We're going to compare everybody's mix to the reference. That's the contest. It doesn't matter what I think of the mix. How does it stack up against the reference track? That's the exercise. Okay. And then in December, we're going to do the good old Frank Sinatra big band thing, which will be a lot of fun. I think you guys will get a kick out of that. Something completely different from what we normally do. Okay. So anyway, thank you so much. Appreciate all of you. You guys know where to reach me if you need to get a hold of me throughout the month. And if I don't, and I won't, if I don't speak to you, we don't get together, if you don't see me over at Home Recording Made Easy between now and Thanksgiving, make sure you have a wonderful holiday and a safe holiday. And I will see you guys next month. Take care, everybody.